In the last hour, we talked with our travel expert, novelist Kristin Harmel, about the urban Bourbon Trail in Louisville, Kentucky. Kristin's back to tell us about the not-so-urban side of bourbon country and why it makes the perfect girls' trip, guys' trip, or even a couple's getaway. Welcome back, Kristin.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so before we get to the distilleries, why would we want to go in the first place?
There are a lot of reasons. First of all, Kentucky is just beautiful, and this area you're going to be driving through between the distilleries, I mean, it's rolling hills, it's horse country. You're going to see some of the most beautiful thoroughbred horses you've ever seen. I mean, just a lovely part of the country. In addition to that, at these distilleries, you get to learn a lot about how bourbon is made, and you actually get to taste bourbon. So even if you're not a big fan of bourbon, or if you don't think you're a big fan of bourbon, this is kind of a good way to expand your palate.
And you might be. Let's start with
absolutely.
Okay, let's start with Jim Beam.
Okay, so basically what happens on the Bourbon Trail is you're going to be leaving Louisville and doing sort of a triangle.
Okay.
I would head first toward Lexington and then kind of continue in the direction of Bardstown, which would take you first, I believe, to Wild Turkey.
Okay.
And then from there are 6 distilleries on the actual urban Bourbon Trail. Wild Turkey, let me see if I can remember these. Wild Turkey, Woodford Reserve, it's like a pop quiz.
Yeah, really.
Okay, they're up on your screen. Good, I don't have
Maker's
to read them
Mark.
all.
Yeah, really, right? Especially
Four
if you've been having
Roses,
too much
Heaven
bourbon.
Hill, Jim Beam, exactly.
Okay.
So you kind of do this triangle, but there are also other distilleries that are not on the trail that I would recommend, including Buffalo Trace, Barton 1792, Barrel House, and Alltech. So at visiting these various distilleries, you basically get to see the entire bourbon making process from beginning to end. And the reason I suggest starting at Wild Turkey is I thought they sort of had the most comprehensive tour. So, but you learn different things at the different places, and then at the end of each tour, you generally get to actually taste at least 2 samples of the bourbon.
Nice. So you learn how it's made,
absolutely,
and then you see how the barrels are aged.
You get to go into these amazing warehouses where you see just as far as the eye can see bourbon barrels being aged, and it's this amazing smell too. It's very cool.
So what about if you're not at the distillery? I guess there's some other things to do.
There's a lot of other things to
places
do.
To stay.
Absolutely. In the last hour, we talked about Louisville. So places to stay in Louisville, I would say the 21C Museum Hotel, which we mentioned. If you're in Bardstown, which is a place I like a lot, yep, you got the beautiful Dreamer Bed and Breakfast in Bardstown. That's right across the street from my old Kentucky home, which is the basis of the Stephen Foster song, the state song.
And then tons to eat.
Absolutely. In Lexington, you want to stay at the Gratz Park Hotel, the Gratz Park Inn, which is downtown. Tons of places to eat. We mentioned Louisville already. In Bardstown, there's Circa in Bardstown. There's the Rick House, which has steak so tender you can cut it with a butter knife, which is amazing.
Wow.
And
Heirlooms.
Heirloom, that's in Midway. It's kind of in the area where some of the distilleries are, and then Dudley's on shore.
Nice.
It's amazing.
Hey, for more information, visit GalTime.com. We'll be back.